This is a work session for Creating the Future, as we are looking at putting together a description of Creating the Future for posting on Idealist, so that we can engage people who want to volunteer with the work that we're doing. Just as background for anybody that's watching, we have promised to do all of our work live online. It wasn't possible to get this live online because we have been blipping with electricity going on and off here. But we're going to try and capture it at least off battery and when the electricity is working with lights on. So that'll sort of be fun. We're going to be using the framework that we always use. We'll start with the presenting issue. We'll ask what that issue makes possible. We'll move from there to the preconditions and reverse engineer what has to happen. And all of this is coming from the meeting that we had in early January with a wonderful group of people talking about how we can move from transactional volunteerism. I like that. Ooh, we can call it that now.
Absolutely.
Transactional volunteerism, which is what will you do for us, to a more participatory way of being in community with each other that happens to have possibilities in our sense as an organization, looking for people who want to participate in our mission. But again, if we're modeling what we want to see in the outside world, what we really want to see is people participating in their lives and in their communities. So let's get started. What we need to come up with for Idealist, we need a description of Creating the Future. We need a logo or image, and links. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in this little box number 1 here, what description, image, links will, ooh, we're moving, tell our story in a way that engages people to want to participate in this work. Yes?
Exactly.
Seems like the start here. All right. What will this make possible? If people are engaged enough by what they read and see to want to participate in the work that we're doing, what will that make possible and for whom? And the for whom's are for
volunteers,
the people themselves, the volunteers, for Creating the Future as an organization, and most importantly for the world. Right, so what does it make possible if they're engaged?
Oh, they can have a venue to share their gifts.
Mm-hmm. Things that they like doing.
Right. And I guess gifts and joys would be.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. And what does that make possible for them?
Personal growth, fulfillment.
Fulfillment, yeah.
Expansion of their capabilities.
Ooh. Okay. And what do those make possible for them?
Make possible
for them.
Career advancement, new job opportunities, new friends, new relationships, happier life. Losing weight.
More money, more sex. Yeah. I like it. Okay, yeah. So they reached their potential. Self-actualize.
There you go. It's a secret. Don't tell anyone.
Okay, I won't. All right, so that's for the person themselves.
Right.
Okay, so what does it make possible for creating future? And so we'll say that this is for the volunteers. Okay, what does it make possible for creating the future? Work gets done. Let's start with that. Lisa Humanics, we use them and we utilize them.
Exactly.
This is for you, Lisa. For creating the future, work gets done, which leads to accomplish the mission, which leads to social change actually changes things.
Pardon the jiggling here. I'm moving it up so it is squarer with the...
Oh, that's a nice thing. Okay, so so if the work gets done, it accomplishes our mission, social change efforts change conditions, and look at this, global self-actualization.
Well, there's another
Yes.
the work gets done, but also the feedback loop is more complete.
Okay. Yes. So okay, it gets.
So we learn from
yeah.
So it's not just
yeah.
we just don't assign people work.
Right. So learns, expands, grows, and that generally seems like it grows. Like, oh, now it's a bigger organization, but I mean, like
the knowledge base.
Knowledge grows. The spreading of the mission grows. That's
Now,
there. I'm talking about what you're really focusing on, which is the learning part. So, in addition to obviously the work getting done, that's the use and utilize thing.
Right.
We have work to get done, and we want others. That's the transactional piece. This piece here is that we are learning together, that we're gaining from each other.
I think what happens with the volunteer, it has the potential to change the nature of the work that they're doing. Their input
changes the work.
As in, well, we don't,
that we're doing collectively.
That we're doing collectively, that their knowledge, experience, help, etc., isn't just to attach the fender. It's to talk about whether the car itself is necessary or a new form of transportation, whatever.
Changes / improves the work that we're doing.
Yes.
I think that's huge. You talked about a feedback loop.
Right.
But I think that that's really what accomplishes the mission.
Right.
That we get to, and I think in part this also for creating the future lets us. This is sort of R&D for a different way of being.
A different way of volunteering is what you're thinking here?
Of being an organization that is using and utilizing volunteers.
Right.
That it is a way of being that's engaged and participatory rather than, we need 3 people to take out the trash.
Right.
That is tapping into, I'm almost wondering if the issue is not participate, quote, in this work, but participate with their, time and talents. I guess what I'm thinking is that this is modeling what we want to see in community.
Right.
So a different way of creating participation or opportunities for participation.
Yeah, where's Lisa when we need her?
In community, I know. Well, and Rachel Fagan and Gail and
right,
that was such a powerful session. Because this was also what Rachel was talking about when she was talking about that this is not just about small grassroots organizations using volunteers. This is about connecting a large mining conglomerate with their community.
Exactly.
So I think
so that could be anyone. So when we're thinking about our volunteers, and I'm using that with big quotation marks, could be Tucson Electric Power. I mean, it could be yes, it ends up being individuals who are doing it, but in addition to...
You see, and I was thinking about it in a completely different way. I was thinking about it in terms of that if this were, that the hour could be you replace creating the future with the mining conglomerate that Rachel was talking about that wants to connect with their community, with individuals. You can't connect with, TEP doesn't exist. Organizations are just groups of people.
Right.
So you can't engage with a thing, but the thing can engage with, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
TEP can engage with individuals in the community that can find ways to plug in.
Right.
But TEP can't engage with Southwest Gas because it's just a box talking to a box. People have to talk to people.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just, I'm thinking of it in terms of, I guess, groups of people. But
there are no such things as groups of people. If what we're looking to do is to affect change in how individuals participate in their communities, they may choose to participate in a group.
Mm-hmm.
They may choose to participate as an individual, but there's no such thing as a group. There's just bunches of people. And if what we're looking to do is to change people's habits so that we create change, then
we need the example.
Group habits are just the habits that a group either explicitly or acquiesces to acquire. I mean, it's just so I think that we need to be really careful to delineate that if we're looking. Here's what happens with groups. That's the use and utilize. We need a whole bunch of Girl Scouts to get out and do X.
Right.
That's what you do, and it's a very different way of thinking. But if what we're really trying to do is to engage participation, I think that's the higher potential piece, which is actually directly linking to, I mean, it skips over our mission and blah, blah, blah. If we're looking at creating different ways and modeling different ways of connecting with people, participation, I'm thinking connecting, engagement, participation, then there's a direct link with the vision that all beings live well individually and collectively.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's still there's a not a dissonance, but because it is a different way of doing this, there's still a moment of okay. The opposite of that is corporations or people.
The box is a person.
Yeah, I mean, taking it to the complete extreme in the other direction,
and that actually is the perfect example. That's what happens when you believe that groups and corporations and organizations actually are something. And if what we're suggesting is that it doesn't, if we take the labels off and we say there's no nonprofits, there's no social enterprise, there's just groups of people doing stuff, and how do they participate in their lives, and how do they participate, I think that this is really powerful. So now we get the fun question, which is what does it take? So what conditions need to be in place for people to feel that they're expanding their capabilities, that they're fulfilled, that they're personally growing? What needs to be in place for a different way of operating, a different way of participating? I'm just going to throw out there that people need to feel valued, appreciated for who they are versus what they have. And the have could be money and it could be time.
What about skills? Where do skills fall into this? Because
I think that's who you are.
right. I mean, if I'm a auto mechanic, that's my skill. So if I'm valued for being an auto mechanic, you know, I mean,
go.
Well, I'm just thinking about it. If I'm valued for being an auto mechanic, am I valued for who I am, or am I valued for what I do?
See. Here's what's making me go. Think about you're an auto mechanic that for 2 hours a week, every week, helps out an organization that has lots of trucks. And when they thank you, how do they thank you?
Lots of tools.
Well, no, what they do is they thank you for all the time you've given. So if we're thanking somebody, you're making my brain go, if we're thanking somebody for what they've given, it's a what they have. Nobody thanks the mechanic for, you are so brilliant. What you bring in terms of your wisdom, is there a way, that you could share your wisdom with others through what we're doing rather than just giving your time doing it? Okay, I don't even know how to put this into words.
So they use the time to simultaneously mentor other people in auto mechanics in this particular scenario.
So it's not just it's not just what you can do for us. That's the use and utilize. But it is the best way for you to, what is the path that you want to take for deepening your skills, for expressing your
well,
talents?
and I think looking at it within the context of the fulfillment and personal growth and the other things that we were talking about at the top of the virtual page.
Yeah. What?
No, I'm just thinking of it. How are you fulfilled by virtue of the fact that you have a piece of knowledge that you've become good at, whatever that knowledge or process or skill or
I'm loving this because this is what we appreciate. What we tell people we appreciate is that they gave their time. And, our attorney gives 5 hours a month to... No, what she gives is the brilliance to be able to negotiate in situations I could never understand.
And that is a hard thing for people to separate in our present culture.
Right.
So it is a hard thing.
So what needs to be in place for us to be able to honor the gifts that people have, and so it's an honoring. Honor people for their gifts. Gifts make it sound like they're giving it to you. For their talents and their being and their spirit.
I think about the diaper sorting parties.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about the families who came.
Right.
So that experience for the parents was not just their skill in stacking diapers. I'm not going to talk about time, I'm just going to talk about that. But it was using their actions as an example to their children of values that they wanted to share.
And building family stories.
And building family stories, and also building, family stories works for that. So it is taking that activity and making it more than just the physical act of stacking or sorting or whatever it was that we needed at the time. I think
So if the work they do contributes to their personal story, and with the example being families stacking diapers. I mean, that's a really, really good image that you and I recognize very, very quickly, that we could translate into a description of, I mean, even if you say those words, it will resonate with somebody. That the work you do with us will become part of your personal story,
right.
However we phrase
right.
it. You know, it doesn't have to be those words, but I think that's really the...
I mean, I'm also kind of hung up on the word mentor and mentoring, and having others, one way that I think about this is when people say giving your time, and I hate to take it back to a monetary concept, but let's say planting your time. Yeah, it is not just being an auto mechanic, not just repairing the trucks, but by the time you're done at the end of the year, 3 young people also know how to repair trucks. So you have the satisfaction of knowing that you helped the food bank repair their trucks, but you also have the satisfaction of knowing that 3 new people are out there who have learned from your wisdom and your knowledge and your skills, and that you willingly wanted to do this, that you wanted to share this with them. So it becomes something that is, I think, honors what you have in a different way. When you're teaching somebody, that's different than performing whatever it is you teach people. And that is, I mean, it's also the way humans operate. I mean, they operate, they have historically operated to teach others through showing them and mentoring them in doing it. So there's I think, a genetic, biological, proclivity for that.
I'm really, really, really struck by this difference of this is what we tell people we value, and this is what they value. So how do we, I wrote down the word language. How do we need to find language in this description, but in everything else that we do, we need to find language that honors people for who they are. So what language, what kinds of language, okay, think of a time where your gifts and skills have been honored and appreciated so deeply. What kinds of circumstances was that in? What did that person show? What behaviors? I'm thinking of when Mark Eckhart introduced you to Dan. It was in the most gracious, beautiful way of talking about the fact that you epitomize holding space. And it was just this really, really, I mean, I was melting and I wasn't even you. What is going on when you're feeling that appreciated for who you are?
Well, part of what's going on is that the other side has accurately observed you. Or has
in your own self-perception. I think you look great.
You look so
Clearly.
skinny today.
Clearly, you've accurately observed me. There's no doubt. But you have a sense that they're listening, or that you're heard, or that you are observed to have lost weight, or that whatever the. But I think part of it is that people really did pay attention to what you did. Going back to the diaper bank example, or using the diapers example, which we will never ever be able to leave, would be my telling you that you did a great job in aisle 7. The way you stacked those size 5s really assured that they're not going to fall down. Thank you so much for paying so much attention to it. So I was very specific to you about what you did in the skill and effort that you showed, as opposed to, Bob, you're one of our best volunteers. You're here every Friday. We really appreciate the work you do. Thank you. We couldn't do it without you. Bob. And you've lost weight, too. So.
Bob looks great.
He looks great. I like being the disembodied voice in this video.
Get in the picture so that people don't think that I'm just going like this or talking to myself.
Well, or how amazing that you're such a good ventriloquist that
They don't want to see the dummy.
they can't even tell.
They don't want to see
Whoa, wait a minute, that's acknowledging me in a way that I don't want to be acknowledged.
Snooze, you lose.
You're a dummy.
Yeah, this is, okay, so people need to feel listened to, paid attention to for who they are in here.
And what they're, if I'm really good at something, it's because it has value to me.
They need to be asked. People need to be asked, not just listened to, but they first need to be asked.
Okay.
What do you value about yourself? You know, the Jody Kretzmann, what do people say you're good at?
Mm-hmm. What an interesting question to put on Idealist. What do you want to do? You know, I mean, it's like, not, we need somebody who could do X.
What do you like to do that brings you joy and fulfills you? Need another color, need another color. What do people say you're good at? I think that in part the description that we give of the work that we're doing has to embody this connection right here. That it has to do with changing the way we be with each other and the assumptions that we make about each other, so that alone creates a different world.
Mm-hmm.
If each of us were to change the assumptions we make about each other, that single act would create a different world. You don't have to go through all the other stages. You change how you be with each other.
Right.
So if this goes into our description, that we know, believe, have experienced, etc., that if we change how we be with each other and how we participate in each other's lives, that creates the world that we want. And that goes into both the description of what creating the future is,
Right.
and then goes into the questions of what we ask of people. But I think you're dead right on. I think that if we, instead of saying, we're looking for 6 volunteers who will, it's the use and utilize, if instead we ask, I had that conversation with Rebecca yesterday, and she said, what do you need help with? And I said, well, I don't want to go there. I want to know what you love to do and wish you could do more of, And she said, nobody's ever asked me that. She said, that's an amazing way to look at this.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't ask each other that. You know, we give people job descriptions. And job description is, here's what I expect of you. So get ready to not live up. You know, the whole bullshit about exceeding expectations. I want to exceed expectations. Whose expectations? This is about their expectations of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm liking this.
This is certainly a different approach.
Yeah, but you know, different approach could also be anything. I mean,
Yeah,
it is a...
let me rephrase this. This is certainly an approach that in its implementation walks the talk of what Creating the Future is trying to do. So that's a different approach, but different approach in that context.
I think that this is, you know, to go into the land of the woo-woo, this is a very life-giving approach. This is an approach that has more
it's also
spirit in it.
highly potentialized in that we don't know what's going to come out of this. When I set my exceeding the expectations you're going to exceed, you're only going to exceed my expectations. So, and in that, I can't imagine a circumstance short of revolution when someone exceeds expectations wildly beyond what the expectations are. You may modestly exceed expectations. You may do it on a regular basis. But no one ever exceeds expectations to change everything by virtue of exceeding those expectations, because everything's based on those expectations. But if you don't have those expectations...
If your expectation is that the relationship is the value, the participation and the growing together, it's the what can we accomplish together that neither of us can accomplish on our own.
Right, right. So the word volunteer is a misnomer.
Well, it's what volunteer means is to offer oneself. You know, who wants to volunteer to do X? You know, you're in the military. I need 3 volunteers to go to the line and die. You know, it's like,
you know, that would make a catchy phrase.
Go to the line and die. Go to the line. We're looking for language. What can we accomplish together?
In the trench.
That we can't accomplish on our own. And that has to be embedded into all of this. I think we're good. I think that any image that we upload, here's what I'm thinking about the image. If it needs to be a square, then we can figure that out. But what I'm almost thinking is that if we're telling the different story...
Now, this is different than the logo. We could put an image, as I was telling you, I believe we can put an image in the body of the text. It could be at the top of the text. So we can have an image that isn't constrained by the words creating the future.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking about is an image of love and together and this. I mean, what is an image that will portray together with no power dynamic? No, this is my expectations of you.
I don't know.
Well, we'll find one. Between the images you've shot and the images I've shot, there's only about 7 million. But I think that sense of together. Oh my, this is brown, but it's very dark, and I like it. Hello. You know, together. That there's a sense of we. There's a sense of participation. There's a sense of egalitarianism, but that's, you know, that's a big word for an image. But I think this does it, and I think it also defines what links we want to put in there. You know, we don't need a million different links. We just need, you know, we could just go to our website, which hopefully by the time somebody clicks will be a redone website. Maybe we can get a volunteer. We can use or utilize a volunteer to redo our website for us. Case closed.
Once we got them with this, we'll use and utilize them, which is...
You know what? With this video, we're going to absolutely have to link to Lisa's video that talks about stop using volunteers.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because
That's a great
it's a very in joke.
What about this video? Hello, just to prove that I'm actually here. What about this video?
Linking to that one.
Just say, how did we come up with this? We're asking for something unusual here, based on everything else. Why don't you see how we came up with this?
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Who knew?
You never know. Okay, I think we're good. Yay, thanks
Fantastic.
guys for being part of this.